Hello, in this lecture, we'll show how to use Tensorflow 2 datasets. So this is, with Tensorflow 2, there's a new kind of dataset structure that people use. So usually we are very used to using Excel files, using pandas, upload it, and then deal with them, maybe convert to NumPy. But recently, Tensorflow 2 has added a new data structure, if you will, data format that facilitates the handling the data. So let's see how that works. So and here the other things are standard, but the TensorFlow dataset, TFDS, nickname often like this, is the one that we'll quickly take a look at. So let's import the libraries. Okay, all right. So for example, the MNIST handwritten digits. So previously we used other ones, but here, so the TensorFlow datasets, TFDS, that load, and then here's the MNIST, and load the information too. So the data will be here and the information will be here, uploaded. Okay. So these MNIST happens to be one of the readily made available because it's so frequently used. So you can just have it if you call and have a name in it, you can do it. Later we'll show also, you can just convert pandas, CSV files, and then convert it to this dataset format. So if you look at the information, it shows a lot of information about this data set, like it's an MNIST and where it came from, and the total 70,000 example, test data 10,000, train data 60,000, and their image and labels, so things like that. All right. So the kind of things that we frequently do, for example, splitting the data. So the data actually came already split. If you call the data train and data test, that will put the train and test data separately. Okay. And how to access individual data? Well, there are many ways of doing it, but for example, the train data, it has 60,000 data images. So if you take the train data dot take, and I'll just sample 2 of them, the first 2 will be picked. I store it in DS, and then you can just run a for loop to access individual of them. So for example, in the DS, and I call it example, the example of image will get me the image data, then the example of label will get me the label data. So I can print the shape and label for each. And if I want to print it, I can reshape it to 28 by 28 and then do the image show. And I can do this for this 2 of them, isn't it? I mean, of course, I could have done it like 5, okay? And it will pick me 5 of them, isn't it? Can I do this at once? Of course, like TDFS load, and when I do the MNIST, I could just ask the split, train and test, and then it will separately just give me the MNIST train and MNIST test. And I could just at once, if I, for example, MNIST train, a batch of 5, shuffle it, and then take 2, it will do all that for me at once. Okay. There's also a convenient thing, oftentimes in the for loop, what we do. It's called Iterator. So if I have an MNIST train, okay, and I define an iterator, in that iterator, so now it's the MNIST train data is loaded in this iterator. And whenever I call get next, it will get me the image and label, and I can print them, I can show it like this. All right. All right. So that's one way of doing it. So this is when MNIST is a frequently used data and it's already pre-prepared by TensorFlow 2. So you can just call MNIST and it will get you. Let's do a more traditional way. So in the TensorFlow data set, MNIST load data, remember that's our favorite familiar thing. It gets us the NumPy array of this. I will rescale it and then make it a floating point and then reshape it, the 28 by 28 to 784 pixels just lined up. So I just load the data and do that. And then what we do here is that the TF-data dataset supports a function called from tensor slices. And I can put the, let's say, the image and the label data here and create a batch. For our purpose right now, we just want to see one data. So let me just have the batch size of 1. If I do this, it just converted this NumPy array into the TensorFlow data format. Okay? So now I can do the same thing as I did before. For example, to take 2, it gets me 2 of them, call it DS. If I print an image here, it will get me all this. Of course, I could have used an iterator. So from tensor slices xtrain, the iterator, and get the next one, and feature an image, I will get this, right? So you can see this, the TensorFlow 2 supports a data format that is convenient for when they're doing many downstream programs. So this was about the TensorFlow 2 datasets. Thank you for watching this video.